Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Doorley, employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Meltzer, James County Jr., Penfield Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been in jail 6 times. 6 times the prosecutors not talked to court. I have prosecutors assigned to my court appearances. I have prosecutors that have delivered me to Monroe County Jail and Livingston County Jail without talking to court. There's not one sentence. There's not one word. There's not one syllable. Public Defender Julie Sionk and Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips. And you know the names of my prosecutors and you're sending my mail back to me. So, this is the Freedom of Information Law. It's only 17 in here. I have been on here with 70, where I have previously demanded if Todd Baxter is paying minors. And Todd Baxter is paying minors that are related to Monroe County Sheriff Office employees for the simple reason that this bald-headed Benito Mussolini psychopath who doesn't know if he's a Democrat or Republican is corrupt. The children of Monroe County Sheriff Office employees are on payroll, and that's patronage. And when I contact Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli, Michael Radley, Kathleen Milley, William Tadeo, Scott O'Brien, I'm going to tell them your boss is refusing to comply with a citizen. I don't have to be a member of the media to demand any of this. I'm a citizen. I'm exercising my First Amendment right. Tell me the names of my prosecutors, Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan and Michelle Crowley at the District Attorney's Office. If you had a friend or family member who was delivered to jail when a prosecutor didn't talk to court, you'd be as motivated as I am. Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley, for justice. So, on this September 26th, I will read the Freedom of Information Law. The numbers you're going to comply with is so obvious. Corruption is predictable. It's 0. Freedom of Information Law. Information about the grand jury convened by District Attorney Sandra Doorley to target Christopher Chichester. That is 1 day, month, and year the grand jury is convened. 2, the assigned District Attorney Office employee to address the grand jury. 3, the witnesses that testified to the grand jury. 4, the vote of the grand jury to transcript the grand jury proceeding. What am I talking about, Director of the Grand Jury, Michelle Crowley? I do not know that this 1984 contraption is convened because you're corrupt and I'm your ham sandwich. What am I talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. You can dye a ham sandwich. The language is famous because it's so easy to indict someone, as former Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger discovered, and others too. So, I leave my house 2 years ago, $73,000 Michael Houlihan and $85,000 down better. They don't hit on the private property of my neighbor. Is that constitutional, Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley? They come running at me in the middle of the night. I turn around and run away. Since I ran away, Michelle Crowley, I would have said all this to the grand jury. I can't commit any crime, so he can't swing a hammer at lying, cop, freak, perjurer, $73,000 Michael Houlihan. I get to the back porch, I grab a hammer that's alongside my bike. Lying, cop, freak, perjurer, Michael Houlihan puts his hand on my arm, the hammer's forced upward. I run through the sliding glass door, I never stop running. I saw him swing a hammer at Michael Houlihan. You convene this grand jury, these 18 to 24 anonymous idiots that I don't know who's convening. Well, you don't call me to testify. And when Michael Houlihan states in this grand jury that I swung a hammer at him, he perjures up. I'm in jail for this because I leave my residence, I walk over to Wegmans, 5 sheriff office vehicles arrives. One psychopath gets out, runs at me, knocks me down. My head slams down the concrete pavement. I'm taken to Paul C. Meltzer, where then I meet my public defender. There's not someone from the district attorney's office present. And then I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, the same jail, Cops mass murderer, Peyton Gendron was in. So, this grand jury right here is assembled without my knowledge by you, Michelle Crowley, and me as a citizen. I'm demanding answers from you about it. Did you talk to Michael Houlihan? Did you, most importantly, see the body camera footage? Regina Harper, when she was at the public defender's office, sent me the body camera. And I sat with Regina. She played it twice. I'm looking at this. I said, I ran away the whole time. And she said, I know. And we didn't have some big Oprah Winfrey thing there where her and I are talking about this. And I think it's because Regina knows that the sheriff's office is psychopaths. Michael Houlihan's a psychopath cop that walked onto private property 2 years ago of my 70-year-old neighbor, ran at me and then lied when he said I swung a hammer when it's impossible for me to swing a hammer when I ran the whole time. That's why people hate the police. So after this happened, I don't know, I'm being, again, stalked and followed. I've been stalked repeatedly by Sheriff Office employees. Richard J. Seaton is looking at my front door. This is another time, pardon me. It's not related to what I just read on here, that Richard J. Seaton is staring at my front door because Paul C. Metzler's $28,000 bald-headed widow in Pennsylvania wants to send me to jail as one person. No one from the district attorney's office is going to be present when I see Paul C. Metzler, and I'm going to meet my public defender for the first time. Julie Sianka, why don't you call me and tell me I'm supposed to be in court? Because Paul C. Metzler wants to bypass all the constitutional guarantees and protections that citizens have to send me to jail as one person. Again, the district attorney's office is not going to be present. I'm going to meet my public defender 5 minutes before I'm placed in front of Paul C. Metzler. I walk to Penn Public Library, I sit down. Richard J. Seaton, a $75,000 fanatic, walks in, runs at me, slams his arm at the side of my head. I fell backwards. My head hit the ceramic tile on the library floor. I'm taken out of the library, walk down the hall. There's Paul C. Metzler. My head is pounding, my ears ringing. The employee from the public defender's office is on me, public defender. My exact words is, get the hell away from me. I'm placed in front of Paul C. Metzler, where she has this statement where I'm talking to her, saying I didn't commit a crime. Talking to her as she's reading this idiot statement. Paul C. Metzler, I'm going to foil that statement, and you better have it, because you read it in Penn Court in public proceeding. I want to see in writing what you said to me this day as one person that wants to send me to jail when I'm violently attacked by Richard J. Seaton when the district attorney's office is not present. Freedom of Information Law. The issuance of a new check to Christopher Chichester, address below for an expired check in the amount of $61.39 from the County Monroe Office of Sheriff and May Fund account. That's the dollar amount in the pocket of Chichester when he's violently attacked at Penn Public Library by 75904 Richard J. Seaton, the Montgomery Sheriff's Office. That check is the price of violence. Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the District Attorney's Office. The price of violence is right here. I knew I was going to hold it up like I'm doing now. I've held this up repeatedly. It does not matter. I'm taking photographs. I just sent pictures of this to Sheriff Todd Baxter. Todd Baxter has seen this. His office has been in the documents. If, in fact, he opened the documentation. The price of violence is this money that I'm owed by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office that was in my pocket when a psychopath cop attacked me in the library. So I have three names that you know. Deputy District Attorney Perry Douglas, Assistant District Attorney Mark Monahan, Public Defender Julie Sianka, and Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips. Mark, this is why I lost absolute total respect for you. SUNY Fredonia, right, Mark? We talked about it. I did have respect for you. And I had admiration for you as well. You came to see me, or you were there, I should say, where my temporary residence, 70 Liberty Pole Way in Rochester, New York, and we talked. We talked about a number of things. What is wrong with you, Mark? This is where my faith in the character of individuals is been changed. Because what is wrong with this Mark Phillips? All he has to do is tell me the names of my prosecutors. I'm not asking or demanding information for the internal operations of his office, the public defender's office. So Mark, what is wrong with you? Because these names of these prosecutors, you know these names. I called the previous YouTube names. I went with simplicity. And you know these names too, Julie Sianka. And I'm forced into these courts before Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court's $210,000 files when there's no idea what's going on. Paul C. Metzler and John P. Menzer Jr. in Penn Court by these exact psychopaths here whose names I'm demanding because the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where an attorney is disbarred. And I'll be relentless about disbarment. I will acquire these names too. Not by you at the District Attorney's Office. You will be forced to send them to me. By the Department of Justice, somebody else has regulatory power and control over you. So his first name. Freedom of Information Law. Documentation of the case of Christopher Chichester, Penn Court for John P. Menzer Jr. was named the prosecutor's door. Is this Julie Hahn or is this not Julie Hahn? I saw a profile of Julie Hahn, a Rochester woman online. I looked at her. It was called True Superwoman. And it looked just like this psychopath in front of John P. Menzer Jr. who didn't talk as I'm delivered to Monroe County Jail. Is that Julie Hahn or is not Julie Hahn? If it's not Julie Hahn, the freaking sociopath is right here because this is the payroll from the District Attorney's Office. What's the name of the freaking sociopath? Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips. This bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzler, convenes Penn Court again, where an assistant district attorney doesn't make an argument I committed a crime because it's impossible to make an argument. This assistant district attorney, this is the 5'2" three-piece suit boy who's like this. I know. Regina Harper, at one point during this insane destruction of my life, said to me about this boy, the prosecutor's not backing down. Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan. If this boy, whose name I don't know, who sent me to Livingston County Jail, had character, He would call me on the phone, or more importantly, call me to 47 South Fitzhugh. I would have sat down with him and he could interview me. That's what an assistant district attorney with character and wants to acquire facts would do. But since this boy is a de facto employee of the sheriff's office, it doesn't matter to him what the facts and circumstances are. And it certainly doesn't matter to him what the reality is in Monroe County. That the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees are psychopath cops that do not know what constitutes a criminal act. The joke of Todd Baxter, when his sworn officers of law do not have the intellectual capacity to identify a criminal act. Freedom of Information Law, documentation for the case of 50 charges about that for Paul Singh. That's what his name, the prosecutor is doing. The freaking sociopath is right here because I know what he looks like. Just like I know what the freaking sociopath looks like before John P. Lorenzo Jr. used a female. If the freaking sociopath left the district attorney's office, that's just the way it is. But I'm still demanding a name for disbarment. I don't care if this freaking sociopath is still employed or not. What is the name? Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Mark Phillips, and Julie Siaka. And you know the name because it's a taxpayer-financed public proceeding with a taxpayer-financed psychopath. So I'm elevated to Alex Renzi. Who elevated me to Alex Renzi? Do I not have a prosecutor assigned to Alex Renzi? He's just deciding I'm going to be in front of him in New York State Supreme Court, where he's in there with 25% of the vote. What do you think about that? Officers of the court: Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley, Julie Siaka, Mark Phillips. Do you think judges should be elected? Do you think judges should be in office with 25% of the vote? Julie Hahn is on Monroe County Court, where she's now presiding over murder trials with 17% of the vote. The state legislature in Albany needs to reform these lists, an abomination. For a judge to be on a court, I understand a plurality if it's 40%, if there's a multi-candidate field, 17% and 25%, and these judges like Julie Hahn and Alex Renzi have the power to destroy lives? That's insane. So, who is it? Alex Renzi knows me because the prosecutor assigned to my appearance forced me into him. I'm going to go into details about him and a 730 mental health evaluation, what he's doing to me, I've called a previous YouTube unconstitutional. He wants to examine the contents of my head. When I contact the Department of Health, the Office of Mental Health in Albany, Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C., I'll talk about what he did to me. I'll also talk about the deliverance of my healthcare records to Paul C. Metzler by you, Todd Baxter, in violation of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, passed by my former employers, the United States Senate, the United States House of Representatives. I believe you, Todd Baxter, committed a crime to deliver my healthcare records to Paul C. Metzler. Alex Renzi, who is it? Documentation for the case of Christopher Charges, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi, was named the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley. The freaking sociopath is right here because this is the payroll for the district attorney's office. So, sunlight's going to stream down upon me in Rochester, New York. The city freeze with his murder after murder after murder. I lived in Albany, New York, and Washington, D.C., and New York City. There's nothing like what happens in Rochester, New York, and these three cities I have lived in. There's nobody set on fire by two teenage psychopath minors in Albany, New York, Washington, D.C., and New York City. Defective documents for John P. Lorenzo Jr., for Dan DeLaus III, sent to me, Paul C. Metzler. This gets Lindsey Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, to my residence. This exact file I dropped off at Penfield Court with John P. Lorenzo Jr. is there, and he calls his mental health bureaucrat. Send me this documentation, Paul C. Metzler, Jason Miller Jr., and I will tell the Office of Court Administration you're refusing. I'll eventually acquire this. And I'm delighted that you're refusing because it just proves what I already know, and that you're corrupt. Freedom of Information Law quote the defective documents in the case of Dan DeLaus III, John P. Lorenzo Jr., Penfield Court. So, sexual harassment is a man asking a woman out on a date over and over and over. She's under siege. No, see, sexual harassment is a man touching a woman in the office. She says, "Don't touch me." Sexual harassment is lewd, vile, vulgar language that makes it impossible to focus and concentrate. Sexual harassment is language that's misogyny. It's just sexual harassment at the sheriff's office and the district attorney's office. Freedom of Information Law. The cost of taxpayers from Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter suspended taxpayer dollars that employee-related discrimination lawsuits federal apply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So here's the payroll at the sheriff's office. Todd Baxter, if you care about sexual harassment at your office, you would ask Jennifer Rivers at 86,528 to come into your office and talk about the state of sexual harassment at the office. So, same thing for the district attorney's office. What's the answer, paradox of Mark Monahan? Michelle Crowley. You know Michelle Crowley because I'm sure you're aware almost always, 90% of the time, is a woman that's a victim of this monstrous crime. Do you have this monstrous crime at the district attorney's office, Michelle Crowley? I'll write this down and ask you directly. what I'm going to read right now, and I'll have a series of questions, 10 questions and bullet points for you, Michelle Crowley, about sexual harassment right here, which I demanded this on April 10th. This is why Sandra Doorley is corrupt. This is why Todd Baxter is corrupt. Sexual harassment, Sheriff Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and Judge Alexander Renzi, April 10th. Mail the names of my prosecutor's office, the address below, Rochester, New York, with the 6 attached PDF documentation. Answer me about sexual harassments in your offices. Resign. Answer me about sexual harassments in your offices. The cost of taxpayers of Monmouth County District Attorney Sandra Doorley expended taxpayer dollars on employment-related discrimination lawsuits failure to apply to Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Same thing for Todd Baxter. All right. Overtime, time and a half, I believe this can remove you from office. Periodicals, can you double your salary? Can you be paid more money at $210,000 to Sandra Doorley? Can you double your salary, Michelle Crowley? Can you double your salary, Mark Monahan, with overtime, time and a half, and at 41st hours work? I don't know. You know. Freedom of information on the total cost of overtime, time and a half, how bad beyond base salaries calculated to Monmouth County District Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter. So, on the payroll for Sheriff's Office, can this employee right here that Dean A. Wake at $75,904.56, the same exact salary Richard J. Stevens paid, why is that? Can Dean A. Wake double his salary to $150,000, be paid more money than you, Todd Baxter, with overtime, time and a half? The answer is yes. It's not something I don't know the answer to. And you're doing that to employee after employee. You already have Corey Fowler and Michael Brown paid more money than you. Excuse me. Michael Fowler is paid $163,000. Corey Brown is paid $155,000. They're already paid more money than you. Can both of these employees, Michael Fowler and Corey Brown, be paid $200,000 with overtime, Todd Baxter? Your refusal to answer is why you're corrupt. Same thing for the District Attorney's Office. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, paid on base salaries calculated at Monmouth County District Attorney's Office of Sandra Doorley. Overtime, time and a half. So, I'm trying to go quickly here, on my day, so if I'm repeating things, I don't intend to do that, but overtime, time and a half. Carrie F. Noble's paid $56,000. You've been sexually harassed at the District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley. Carrie Noble. Can Carrie Noble be paid over $100,000 and double her salary with time and a half, overtime, however time that's done? You know the answer. I don't. My private health care records. I believe this is a federal crime, Todd Baxter. Freedom of Information Law. Copy of the private health care records delivered to $28,000 Penfield Town Court Judge Paul C. Metz by Sheriff Todd Baxter in violation of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. Where did I go to Elmwood Avenue, Todd Baxter? Well, I'm not examined by a doctor. And then I'm there for 3 weeks. A real doctor, Dr. Jeremy Smith, says to me, you shouldn't be here, I'll write the order. Then when I subsequently appeared in Penfield Town Court, Paul C. Metz looked down at the document and stated the name of this place on Elmwood Avenue and asked me if I was there. And how does Paul C. Metzler know I was there? Because you gave him my health care records, that's why. This is why you're a freak and a psychopath. This is why you hate human beings. Freedom of Information Law, the cost for photography session approved by Monmouth County Sheriff Todd Baxter, photo of 10 Monmouth County Sheriff Office employees underwater and pool. I can hold that up now in the interest of time. I need to get off here quickly today to get on my day so I can move back to Albany. Because if I don't move back to Albany, I'll be arrested again. And all it takes is one corrupt psychopath judge to deposit you in jail, then hold you in jail without an assistant district attorney making an argument that citizen committed a crime. Freedom of Information Law. Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia, have held this up over and over. What's he doing at the Super Bowl in 2019? Is he still employed? Freedom of Information Law. The cost for a hotel and plane ticket from Monmouth County Sheriff Office employee Ryan Fisher attended the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia on February 3rd, 2019. So, Vanity Film of Alex Renzi has clerks at New York State Supreme Court. When I used to walk by the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., when I would go to the Russell Senate Office Building, I think about the book The Brethren. I think about my friends that I work with, like Greg Wack in the Russell Senate Office Building, who knew some of the clerks, who would tell me what would happen with Supreme Court justices. He'll refuse to answer. This is why he's corrupt. Does Alex Renzi have clerks or not? Does Alex Renzi have clerks telling him what to do? Does Alex Renzi have clerks managing him? The answer is yes. Freedom of Information Law. Names and salaries of every public employee in New York State Supreme Court under supervising Judge Alex Renzi, 99 Exchange Boulevard, Rochester, New York. So, same thing with Penfield Town Court. You got the old lady at the window. Is the old lady at the window paid more money than you $28,000 bald-headed widow Paul C. Metzler and you $34,000 James Lane Jr.? Freedom of information law names and salaries of a public employee, Penn Court. Does the old lady at the window receive more pay and tax dollars than $28,000 Paul C. Messer, $34,000 Jason Lane Jr.? So the contract for weapons would I be removed from office? I know you refuse to answer. When I contact Control Child Speak to Napoli in Albany, I'll tell them you're refusing to answer. It has nothing to do with the security of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office with the weapons. You not only have the handguns, you have the long guns, you have any type of weapon that can kill an innocent citizen at any time during the day, 24/7. What's the contract for weapons? Freedom of Information Law. Contract signed by Sheriff Todd Baxter to purchase firearms from Monroe County Sheriff Office employees to include 1, the name of the firearms contracted; 2, the number of firearms purchased; 3, the total amount of taxpayer dollars expended to purchase firearms. This is the lunatic fringe. I hate to use this phrase because I know you can embarrass, humiliate me. This is on 2025 Penfield Road. You can go and look at it. And you, Elliot Roth, you open your mail, which will, of course, come back to me. You can tell me what the answer is. Is this private technology you're using on me at this business, 2025 Penfield Road, Todd Baxter? Or did you expend taxpayer dollars and resources to the sheriff's office to put it on the building? When I say put it on the building, I'm going to show it to you on the building. And then you freaks and sociopaths, I want to call these mental health bureaucrats upon me, can go drive over there into the parking lot that you could walk through without being arrested and look at it. Freedom of Information Law. The cost of surveillance device purchase with taxpayer dollars affixed to a building, 2025 Penfield Road, to monitor Christopher Chichester at 26 Sandra Farm Drive. Walk through the parking lot next to the building, and that's the lunatic fringe. And the lunatic fringe is right here. Sheriff Todd Baxter. This is private technology on this building at 2025 Penfield Road, where Elliot Ross is the president of a business called Consumer Insights. What did you expend taxpayer dollars to buy and affix it from me? And the public defender's office, in the person of Regina Harper, sent me the links, and I watched myself on this fucking contraption. So you fucking skinhead, answer my freedom of information law. So that's it. 17. Every single one you will refuse to comply with. 0. Price of violence. Richard J. Seaton, who will not be fired. Todd Baxter loves violence. That's why I have this check. Things happen in Rochester, New York I've never seen before in my life. I couldn't get into a Rochester Red Wings game, but going to minor league baseball for 30 years. I still have the ticket because I was wearing a backpack. I've said that before. It's ridiculous. So this is what arrived in your office. And this is significant documentation that arrived in your office today. It's in 4 packets right here. This documentation is today because I sent it yesterday using the registered mail return receipt. And that's the return receipt right here for Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Alex Renzi, and Trinity Ross, the United States Attorney for Western District of New York, who's in Buffalo. And what's going to arrive at those offices today, at least in Rochester, Trinity Ross will get it tomorrow because of the time period. It's this right here, September 23rd, 2023. Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, printed out here with all the links. Turpitude of front, psychopaths, miscreant, crazed. Elliot Roth is going to be arrested. You can watch me on TikTok talking to this Elliot Roth when he says to me, "I'm walking through the parking lot for the 4,000th time, you're going to be arrested." These links here, every single one, turpitude of front, psychopaths, miscreant, crazed. I'm demanding every single time the names of my prosecutor silence are refused. I'm using the foil every single time, demanding the names of my prosecutor silence refused. September 23rd, 2023, Todd Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York, Sandra Doorley, District Attorney, 47 South Fitch, Rochester, New York. Apply with detached freedom of information and documentation dated September 23rd, 2023. Mail names of my prosecutor silence, the address on the foil. Appellate District State Supreme Court determines discipline for attorneys to include admonishment, reprimand, censure, suspension, or loss of his or her license to practice law. The freaks and sociopaths, the district attorney's office responsible for prosecuting in total silence must be subject to such discipline. This includes you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Read the 5 criminal complaints attached in PDF, arrest and prosecute each individual named in the criminal complaints. You will receive this email and PDF attachments via registered mail return receipt. What's not to understand, you two-party switching psychopaths do not know the behavior that constitutes a criminal act. This sick fact is the reason why you're corrupt. I've been in jail 6 times. 6 times the prosecutor's not talked to court to accuse me of a crime. That's insane. Your entire repulsive existence is saying destruction of innocence. You, chief of the local courts, Elizabeth Buckley, can send me the names of my prosecutor silence. You can also redirect the defense away from $28,000 psychopath bald-headed widow Paul C. Metzer and $34,000 psychopath James Lane Jr. Penfield Court. Have you noticed there's no jury box in that little room? Have you noticed there's no witness box for witness testimony? Have you noticed there isn't a table for a prosecutor? Have you noticed there isn't a table for a public defender or defense attorney? This disgusting little room is the Soviet Union. So then, what you're arriving today, you'll see I'm talking to you again on September 21st, which is called a front, because you're on a front to decency and justice. Apply with attached freedom of information or documentation dated September 21, mailed and answered on prosecutor's house, the address on the floor, read the 5 criminal complaints attached to PDF, arrest and prosecute each individual named in criminal complaints. You receive this email and PDF attachments via registered mail return receipt. My 80-year-old landlord, Anthony Ospino, locked the doors and locked me out of my residence in Penfield for 8 years without a court order. That's the crime. Requires a court order. When I got out of Livingston County Jail in Geneseo after I was attacked by Richard J. Seaman, the door's locked. I don't know this is happening. I slept in Harris Wendell Park for 3 weeks. This old man subjected me to the elements of the weather. When it would rain, when I'd be in the park, I'd have to walk over to Target, which is next to Wegmans on Penfield Road, and sleep underneath the trucks at Target. And sometimes the trucks would be there at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning delivering the merchandise and products. I had to get up and run away from the back of Target. That's what you're doing to me. It's a crime to lock the doors on a tenant without a court order, even when the tenant doesn't have a lease. An 80-year-old Anthony Ospino committed that crime. And the reason why he won't be arrested, prosecuted that one day in jail is he's an 80-year-old man with broken English, and I don't know which is going to exit his mouth. It's going to protect this psychopath old man. So, psychopaths. Psychopath sheriff who doesn't know the behavior that constitutes a crime. A psychopath district attorney unleashing her disgusting collection of cretins upon me who have never talked in court if I'm delivered to jail 6 times. Freedom of Information Law crime, detached Freedom of Information Law dated September 12, 2023. Mail and answer on prosecutor's address on a form. Read each FOIL document. Attach the PDF that demands other information. Read the 97-page document attached in PDF. Read the pretrial source corporation document attached in PDF. Answer my questions about it. I didn't have a trial schedule, yet I was forced by Judge Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court to contact this employee. Tell me why. The attached PDF documentation includes 5 criminal complaints. Arrest and prosecute each individual named in the criminal complaints. You receive these criminal complaints, be registered mail return receipt in July. You did nothing and will do nothing. You will concoct crimes for me to ignore real crimes committed by sick individuals. It includes Monroe County Sheriff Office employees. It's a disgrace that sworn officers of law do not know what constitutes a criminal act and commit criminal acts. Do you two party switchy psychopaths and freaks understand what I directed you to do? I'm not asking you for information. I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors of silence. When I'm forced into a court, I have a taxpayer-subsidized public employee. That's a prosecutor assigned to that appearance. A prosecutor's never once talked in court, has lived to jail 6 times. That's the same. Then the links here, psychopaths, miscreants, crazed, TikTok, Ellie Roth, you're going to be arrested. You can see me talking to him about that insanity. So miscreants here, saying September 7th, miscreants is in your office. Attached to PDF Freedom of Information Law document dated September 7, 2023. There's an application to access records. You possess the records I demand access. It includes the names I prosecute silence. Mail the names of these taxpayer subsidized employees to my address on Park Avenue. 5 attachments to PDF include a May 20, 2023 letter to Thomas J. Doorley, Livingston County, with questions he refused to answer about my deliverance to his jail by $28,000 pulsing that's in Penfield Court. I'm in jail in a county I don't live in after I'm violently attacked by 75-904 Richard J. Seaman, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office at Penfield Public Library. Metzler convened this disgusting court without notification to the district attorney's office. Is that constitutional? Can that psychopath widow send any citizen to jail in Penfield, New York, in the absence of a district attorney? What's the answer to that question? You know the answer. Judy Siaka, Mark Phillips, Perry Dawkins, and Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley. Can this psychopath widow, $28,000 Paul C. Metzler convenience court with a district attorney's not present? Because that means she could send any citizen of the 36,000 in Penfield, New York, to jail, and no one at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office knows about it. I believe that's unconstitutional. So disclosure right here, and you refuse. Judy Siaka, this September 5th. There's your name. Here's all your emails up here. There's your email there, Judy Siaka. There's your email, Mark Phillips. What's wrong with you, Mark? Just send me the names of my prosecutors. Read the attached PDF Freedom of Information Law documentation. Comply with the attached PDF documentation. Mail and answer my prosecutors on the address listed below. Our prosecutors size before. Penfield Court Judge John P. Mezzo. Penfield Court Paul C. Mezzo. New York State Supreme Court Judge Alex Renzi. You receive this email and attachments via registered mail return receipt. You refuse to sign the documentation. That's exactly right. To Julie Hahn on August 29th, 2023. It's real simple. Julie Hahn, 17% of the vote. Monroe County Court, 99 Exchange Boulevard, Rochester, 14614. Are you the prosecutor unable to talk to Penfield Town Court for my appearance for $34,000? John P. Lanza Jr.'s I'm delivered to Monroe County Jail. The 50-plus attachments include language I've used for 18 months, demanding names I prosecute silence from your former boss, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This nightmare for the citizens of Monroe County is refused every single time down the law, and that fact is why she's corrupt. No citizen should ever be deposited in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. I've been an inmate in Monroe County Jail, Eastern County Jail, total 6 times. 6 times prosecuted, not talk to court. That's insane. Then to Juliana, I have this YouTube video called Names, Hideous, Subversive, Heinous, TikTok, Corrupt. I was on this TikTok app that I sent you. I was on TikTok talking directly to you, Perry Douglas, telling you to send me the names of my prosecutors in March. I was on Gmail telling you in February, Perry Douglas, send me the names of my prosecutors. On January 1, 2023, this year, I sent you an email, 300 plus words, telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors. You refused. So, simple word. I'll go with the simple word, and then I'll go with the deflammatory word. The deflammatory word today is deranged. A district attorney that refuses to disclose the names of prosecutors in a public proceeding is deranged. A sheriff that unleashes his employees to attack innocent citizens when he's responsible for upholding the law is deranged. So, names. What are the names? August 28 names. Attached to PDF Freedom of Information Law dated August 28, 2023 that compels you to disclose the names of prosecutor's silence. The title, 97 pages of fanaticism. Mail the names of these fanatics to my address in Park Avenue. And then I have documentation bullet points about Metzler, Lomenzo, and Renzi. I continue. YouTube party switching psychopaths unable to identify criminal act will obtain to force innocent citizens into the New York State Supreme Court for $208,000 Alex Renzi and Pemberton Court for $34,000. James B. Mullen Jr. and $28,000 Paul C. Metzler. I prefer to have my civil and constitutional rights abridged by one psychopath not in the help of fallen and can't get up commercial. That's the station of life. You both arrive at soon. 4 criminal complaints notarized by Christopher M. Price, the Rochester Public Library, July 21, 2023. They're attached to PDF. 5th criminal complaint attached to PDF notarized by Christopher M. Price at the Rochester Public Library on July 27, 2023 is for 73312 Monroe County Sheriff Office Employee Michael Luan. He lied under oath in a grand jury. This cop freak will continue to commit crimes for the citizens fired this cop creep. Houlihan and Sheriff Baxter, you received each criminal complaint for your registered mail return receipt last month. You will receive this email and the 4 PDF attachments registered mail return receipt. You will again refuse to comply with the law because you're corrupt. I've communicated with you two anything party switches previously. TikTok, Corrupt, Pepper Duckles, YouTube, Hideous, Subversive, Heinous. And I tell you what the obvious should be for you two freaks, Sandra and Todd Baxter, to resign. This is August 21. It's called Hideous. Same language nearly that I just read is on here on August 21. I'm telling you to disclose the names of our prosecutors, and you're refusing. Every single time. This is a verse on August 8th, same language. I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors. Freedom of Information Law is updated for that day. Heinous, August 6th. Heinous, I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors. And you predictably refused. Impervious on August 4th. I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors, and you refused. Now, Perry Douglas and Julie Sianka, I sent you a long communication that I'm going to send to you if you didn't read it. It's right here. Then I'm going to attach the PDF and you can read it now if you didn't read it. But it's on August 1st. Perry Douglas right here. All this language, all throughout him telling you about the insane destruction of my life and telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors, which continues on this page for you, Perry Douglas here, where the last graph for me to you, Perry Douglas, is I'm trying to be a part of justice being done. Perhaps you heard that's quite a thrill when it happens. I will fail. There's no justice. What has happened to me, justice is a joke. The criminal complaints I've attached to PDF that are now in your office will be dismissed. There won't be one day in jail court appearance of associate fat acts and freaks that destroyed my life. Resign. So you public defender Julie Sianka told you to do the same thing at the end of this is resign. You cannot be the $140,000 public defender if you refuse to disclose the names of prosecutors in public proceeding assigned to mine, concocted fiction, charges, and lies. First graph to Julie Hahn, August 20. I repeatedly sent registered mail return receipt. If Freedom of Information Law requires you to disclose the names of prosecutors, you refused by returning the large mill envelopes at my address on Park Avenue. This is corruption, and you know it. I've been in jail 6 times associate fanatic and freak when the district attorney's office did not talk to court. When I appear in these disgusting star chambers as an innocent man, I have a prosecutor signed to that appearance. That's right. You know those names, Julie Hahn, and you're refusing to disclose them every time. And then the last 2 graphs for Julie Sianka, the public defender, in his communication on August 1, 2023. I'm not asking you for information in this email. I'm telling you to disclose the names of these sociopaths, fanatics, and freaks in the district attorney's office now. Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where an attorney is disbarred. I'll pursue disbarment for my prosecutors of silence. This goal can't be achieved when you refuse to honor the simplicity of the Freedom of Information Law. You must be removed as public defender by Monroe County Legislature President Sabrina Lamar. I'll contact her directly and include this email to you in the documentation. You will continue to receive documentation from me, registered mail return receipt that requires you to disclose the identities of my prosecutor's silence. These are identities you have in your office in paper files, a hard drive, or both. It's insane for a public defender to refuse to disclose basic information to a defendant that is the identity of the prosecutor. It is insane for a public defender to refuse to disclose basic information to a defendant that is the identity of a prosecutor. An identity you have, Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan and Michelle Crowley. How am I in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? So, identity is right here. Who is it? It's Jay Seaman, this violent freaking fanatic, is right here. Here is his name, 75,904 and 40 cents. Why is this 40 cents, Todd Baxter? I know you refuse to answer me. When I contact Thomas B. Napoli, the controller of New York, demanding you be audited, I'll say he's paying employees cents because he has no sense. So, on this payroll of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, you have employee after employee. Like these employees here are paid the exact same salary: $121,451. Ralph Pizzuro, John M. DiMartino, Thomas A. Sarkis. Why all three of them paid $121,451? Todd Baxter. You know what's not on this payroll? Because I don't have the original payroll I had because Antonino Spano locked doors and locked me out, and it's gone. On this payroll here, on the last page of the one I had with the $10,000 and $12,000 employees, on this payroll here, that's not on here. Why is that? Because I've been talking about your $10,000, $20,000, $12,000 quote employees, end quote, and are they the children of Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees? What's the state of nepotism at the Sheriff's Office? I know the answer. You're drenched in nepotism. The children, the nieces, the nephews, the grandchildren of Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees are on your payroll, Sheriff Todd Baxter. There's no doubt about that. And Thomas B. DiNapoli will be able to uncover this fact. So, Perry Douglas, August 28, 2023. I'm not going to show these up again, but I have. But there's your name, Perry Douglas. How do you, when this arrives, I'll never know if you open it, but there's your name. This card came back to me, so I know my documentation is the district attorney's office. You look right at the foil, Perry Douglas, if you open the mail. Well, you can see the foil I just read on this August 28th. Scores names on prosecutors. Everything is gone from me. When I was in elementary school, my mother would say to me, St. Christopher will protect you. So I'm not going to show it now, but I'm wearing it. So I bought a St. Christopher medal so I could think about my mother. I had a box of St. Christopher medals. Going back to the one my mother bought me when I was in elementary school, and it's gone. Because the 80-year-old Antonino Spano locked the doors and locking me out, that's a crime. And taking everything out into a storage locker in Webster, New York without a court order, that's a crime. The obliteration of my life by this old man who hates human beings, just like you do with the district attorney's office and sheriff's office, where you're consumed with power and control over innocence. Send me the names on my prosecutor, Silence, Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley, Judy Sianka, and Mark Phillips. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been an innocent man my whole life.